Another vlog. It is Vlogtober day 13 and we have our weekly quote, which is kind of an iconic one. Stay gold, pony boy. I thought it was stay golden, but stay gold, pony boy, from S.E. Hinton from The Outsiders. Now let's look at all the books I plan to read this week. Now this one I'm not sure because nobody has told me yet if I should start it today or save it for November, but that is the Singular 14 Society Yuletide Guide to High Strangeness by Tobias Whalen, artwork by Emily Whalen, and forward by Joshua Cutchin. This is just paranormal, creepy, supernatural Christmas stories, but I think they're people's real experiences. Next, we have the main focus on this vlog, and that is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, translated by Megan McDowell. This one is a big horror that is an epic. It goes through many years, but we have this father and son duo. The mother has passed away, leaving the father as a widow, but she comes from this elite group called the Order. Now, the Order is a very dark, they deal with demons and the occult, and the father does not want his son to grow up in that kind of lifestyle, so he's trying to break free from that. Next, my mood read is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. This is a small town, grumpy sunshine romance. Next, we have my ebook pick, which is the dystopian classic of 1984 by George Orwell. It's time for our mystical morning. With these cards yesterday, I tried to, do what they told me to do. The Keeper of Boons, this is the one I'm really looking at. So financially obsessed with wealth. So yeah, there was a solid structure. It was very hard dealing with a scared dog who's scared of water going down the gutter. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do for that situation? But we're going to see what the cards are today. Okay, we got everybody out. So the first card, we want to know, what are my feelings going to be like today? Get this card right here. Next, second card, what will my health be like today? This one. Third card, what will my thoughts be like today? This card right here. Let me set these right there. So for feelings, we have the Seeker of Boons. I forget what the Seeker is. I don't think it's the page. But the Seeker of Boons, we have this woman who is going through the forest. It looks like there's some gemstones right there that she has come across, and she looks like she's about to get them. She does have some like crystals around her, like on her body, So I'm going to see if I've ever drawn this card before and what it means. The card translates to the Knight of Pentacles, to let y'all know. That's where I had it written down, but the Knight of Pentacles. And what does it mean in the upright manner? And definitely this is what I am needing today. Hard work, productivity, routine, and conservatism. Conservatism, which I definitely like. I have a lot on my plate today. I've already accomplished a lot today, so I'm glad that I am hardworking, being productive, sticking to a routine. We really need that kind of energy today. But something I'm curious about, I don't know the difference in feelings and thoughts. Like, that's something I am curious about with this new spread thing that we're doing. So for the card about our health, we have the Keeper of Challenges reversed. So this is is he the King of Swords? I'm pretty sure is what that is. You see, we have this old man, wise. I only say in all your fantasy books and fantasy shows, you always need the old man with the long beard, the long hair, the robes. You always have to have that. So with this being in the reverse, let's see what this means. This one is really interesting. So in the reverse, it means quiet power, inner truth, misuse of power, and manipulation. That makes me think myself or somebody else is going to use my health against me, which is interesting. With health, sometimes I've been feeling that this has been really achy. I think it's from because I've just been having to be inside because, you know, it was a downpour for 3 straight days, and I, you know, have just been laying around. I haven't, you know, been out walking as much, exercising, so I have just been feeling kind of stiff. So this is the manipulation. Yeah, the health, this is all still a learning process for me for reading spreads, so that's interesting, intriguing. Now the card for our thoughts. We have the Child of Boons, so this is the Page of Pentacles. He is near this like candy house, very close, wants to touch it. Let's see what it means. Again, another interesting card that I really think does imply, so this does translate to the Page of Pentacles. I think I said that. So that means manifestation, financial opportunity, and new job. And I have been thinking about reaching out to publishers to be a part of their influencer program where they send you books to review. They send them for free. So I have been thinking about that. That's something that has been on my mind. So I do think that card is really fitting. Maybe it's telling me now's the time to, you know, reach out and do it. So these were our cards for the day. For feelings, we had the Seeker of Boons. For health, we had the Keeper of Challenges reverse. And for thoughts, we had the Child of Boons. And those were our cards for today, October 13th. Our nightly update on our share of night. I got to like 37%. I read 90 pages in here today. I can't believe I read that much. It did not feel like that, but I was definitely like getting towards the end of the screen hour. I was like, oh, I'm ready to be done. So I'm glad that, you know, I read a good chunk of the book. So let's talk about what I read today. So our girl Tali, she's doing some things. I think she's going to be found out, and it's not going to go well for her. Then we get into section number 2. And this is another book where I need a family tree because we have somebody called Bradford. He seems to be a doctor, and Mercedes is his sister. Mercedes is the mother of Rosario, and therefore the mother-in-law of Juan. So we have Bradford, and that is like their last name, you know. But it's saying he has a brother, and I'm like, nowhere in this do we hear about Mercedes and Jorge having a brother. We never heard that. And now I'm really confused. I'm like, is Jorge actually... It's Mercedes and Adolfo. Adolfo had Tali and Rosario. Okay, so see, I need a family tree because the whole time reading this little section, reading this chapter, I'm like, okay, how is this guy connected to the family? Because he has their last name, but they're never saying the first name. I'm like, or is Bradford his first name? Like, I was really confused by all of that. Now we get to section 3, and we're seeing what life is like back in Buenos Aires, and also the migraine representation in this book. I mean, even earlier on when I first started the book, the migraine representation is so good because it just is so like, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. So if you want migraine representation in a book, we do have characters here who get migraines. Next, I am not liking this section as much as I like the first section of the book. The first section of the book, I was like, this is 4-star vibes. I'm loving it. But now this is like 3-star vibes because it doesn't have all the magical and occult stuff. Now, it is kind of happening behind the scenes, but it's not as in our face as the first section of the book. I mean, that is the point because Juan is trying to protect Jasper from that life. So we're not really getting all the occult stuff because Jasper's being shielded from it. And to me, I'm just not, I'm like, okay, we're just seeing these kids in Buenos Aires. It's not really intriguing me as much as the first section of the book where we are really like finding out about the order and all of that kind of stuff and Juan's abilities as a medium. We don't have all of that in this section. Let's talk about my plan for reading because I feel like I'm really neglecting my mood reads because of all the sports on TV. Like I'm about to go watch Monday Night Football and then after that, the Dodger game. So what am I going to do? I am going to try the baseball, reading during commercial breaks and reading when the other team is at bat. One of the common errors, you suggested it. I am going to try since like, because this book, I couldn't do that. This book is way too dense for me to do that. But since my mood read is, you know, a nice fluffy romance, that is something, you know, easier to digest. It's not, you know, I'm not having to take in all that world building and stuff like that. So I'm going to try that. And for nights that aren't baseball, but there maybe I went to a hockey game or, you know, I wasn't at home and I was doing something else, I'm just going to read it like when I'm in bed, getting ready for bed because it is on my Kindle. So that's something I don't need the lights on. Just read a little bit of it just so I don't get lost with the book being like, even though I do know what has happened in the book, like we recently had Jeannie is finding out all about Logan's past relationships or past relationship. But if you guys made it through this whole video, thank you. Leave a Halloween emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!